Hi everyone, welcome. Stoked to have you guys with me, stoked to be getting ready to move this evening. I'm looking forward to it. Tonight you do not need any equipment, however, a mat is great, a pillow is great if you have it, a bolster is great if you want to get like real fancy with it, but you don't need anything. I'm excited to do this with you guys, and if it's your first time here, my name is Clarissa. This is Revivewell Mobility. In this class, we are just trying to move your body in a somewhat systematic and a somewhat just kind of playful way in order to help you move better, in order to move your joints more freely, to get more range of motion, to be able to perform your workouts and your sort of like normal life tasks just more easily. So that's what this is all about. So I think we should start. We're just gonna start in a seated position, just comfortable, kind of quiet, kind of chill. And the reason that this is so important is it's really easy to just be so in our heads throughout the day, whether you're working on a project and just intellectually very focused, or if you're going through sort of your normal style workout. Even then, when you feel like you're working your body, it's so easy to just like not really be paying attention, kind of going through the motions, either trying to work out as hard as you can or follow the instructor or whatever the case. And it's rare that we stop long enough to actually feel what's going on in the body. And that is when the magic really starts to happen within the body. That's when you make progress and see results and are able to kind of connect and feel what's going on. This is definitely a class where I want you to be sort of exploring and experimenting your own body, and you can't do that if you're like out of touch with yourself and not aware of what's going on. So even though it can feel sort of tedious or maybe even woo-woo, it's so valuable to just like take a second, kind of calm the brain down, shut everything out for a second, turn off the cell phone, get distractions away, whatever you need to do so that you can pay attention and be present in your own body and make the most of this time for yourself. You're here, we might as well do this. So just relax, sit comfortably and let your eyes close. And we're just gonna take some deep breaths. Just breathing, that's all we're doing. So as you're breathing and stuff's coming into your brain, see if you can kind of like shelf it for later, and then just be paying attention to your breath. So just like, I'm inhaling, and now I'm exhaling, and that's all you're thinking about, it's all you're feeling, it's all you're sensing for just a couple more breaths. Couple more breaths, paying attention, feeling the breathing, shelving everything else that's distracting. And go ahead and open your eyes. So once we get moving, if you find yourself sort of zoning out or checking out, I super encourage you to just like take a break in whatever position that we're in. Just stop following me for a second, reconnect to your breathing. Sounds kind of corny, but you gotta be paying attention to what's going on with your body in order for this to make sense, for you to see progress, for it to feel good, for you to know what's going on. So take those breaks as you need them, check in with yourself. Keep this real for your own body, doesn't have to look like mine. Here we go. We're gonna turn over to hands and knees and just move our spine a little. Love this basic but awesome stretch. We're gonna take some cat-cows. Drop your belly, look up. We're gonna arch the spine. Take a nice deep breath in. And exhale, round your back. Push the floor away, breathe out. Inhale, arch your back, look up. Exhale, round your back, look down. And so already, find yourself moving at your own pace. You're following your own breathing, and you might breathe a little faster than me or maybe a little bit slower. And if we're not going at exactly the same pace, it's totally fine. I'd rather you follow your own body and what your breath is pacing, what you're needing. Let's go 2 more of these together. Just big back movements. Okay, and let's do some side to side work. So you're still in hands and knees. I want you to feel that core kind of pull in, pull the belly in. We're gonna step the left leg back behind. So the left toes are on the floor, the core is engaged. Step those left toes over to the right side. So we already start to feel a light side stretch on this left side body. Left foot over to the right side. We're gonna look over the right shoulder, which is even increasing that side stretch on the left side. Big inhale breath here, and then exhale, we're gonna decrease that side stretch and crunch elbow to shoulder. So go ahead and join me. Inhale, tap that foot over to the right side, and exhale, bring left shoulder, left knee. I'm like, what is this knee? What is this shoulder? We are breathing and moving and stretching the sides. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. A couple more times. Going at your own breath pace, stretching out your sides, moving your spine side to side. And let's take it on the other side. So hands and knees, core engaged. Step right leg straight back, and then over to the left side. Look over left shoulder so we create that arch. Inhale, exhale, crunch. Right knee, right shoulder. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, crunch. Let's go 4 more rounds of these on this side. And one more time. Awesome, good. Okay, and then back to hands and knees, and we're gonna dramatize those cat-cows. So we were arching and rounding the spine. We're gonna head from child's pose to seal pose in one breath pace. So round the back, push the hips to heels, child's pose, and then slide yourself forward. Inhale, open chest. Hips forward, so we're arching the back. That's your inhale. Exhale, push hips back, round the back. Inhale, slide forward, open chest. Exhale, glide back. We're gonna take 4 more. Just keep breathing and sliding through position to position. Just creating some flow with the spine, getting articulation in between each vertebrae. Like I said, we've been sitting, so we're stiff. We want to get every little tendon looser and open. Last time. Inhale, open. Exhale, back. Give me a child's pose for 3 deep breaths. Just kind of stretch out that back. Reach nice and long. Stretch. Take 3 deep breaths. Recheck, refocus. Are you paying attention to your body? Keep those thoughts on your physical body. Come back to hands and knees, and we're going to dramatize those side bends. So let's start with the left leg back behind again. And we're going to take the left hand to the sky. So we're going to create some side bends, stretching and working the side bodies again. Oh, this plant is my friend today. Okay, so balancing here is going to be kind of tricky. If you're feeling like you're falling all over, no problem. We're going to inhale to reach and stretch out this top side, and then exhale to crunch knee to elbow. That's where the balance gets crazy. Inhale, stretch. Reach, pull the fingertips and toes away from each other. Exhale, crunch. Give me 4 more of those. Reach big in between each rep. So in this initial kind of warm-up phase, be thinking about finding your end range. So how far into the stretch can you go? Each breath. Every single breath is an opportunity to go just a little further. Last time. Reach big and then turn back to hands and knees, and we'll repeat on the other side. Step the right foot back behind and the right hand to the sky. Big arch with that body, so reach from fingertips to toes. Inhale, exhale, side crunch. Inhale, reach. Exhale. 4 more times, big stretch. How much can you stretch? How much can you reach? Two more. Big last stretch, reach and come back to hands and knees. Awesome, and just give me one nice long cat-cow to stretch the spine out, kind of vertically, the regular way it should go. And we're gonna tuck the toes under and just come forward to the top of the mat so you're in a relaxed forward fold position. So feet and everything are at the top of your mat, bend at the knees a little bit, round your back and just relax. And then we're just gonna sway a little bit. So you're just gonna swing side to side just to get the back to let go. We're trying to kind of decompress the spine here, trying to feel heavy in between each vertebrae, feeling that neck nice and long. Take a couple more slow breaths here. And we're going to continue warming up the back, moving through the vertebrae. We're going to inhale to roll up to stand. And exhale, take the shoulders back and down in place. And then inhale, reach the arms overhead. So stretch as high as you possibly can. And then we're going to exhale to take the arched part of the back in this movement sequence. So this part, we want the back to be arching as much as we can. So we're feeling the hamstring stretch. And then rounding at the bottom, exhale. Inhale, rounding, rolling up. Exhale, shoulders back and down. Inhale, arms go overhead. And exhale, arching the back, back, down we go. All the way into a fold, relax the head. Inhale, roll up, give me 2 more rounds. Just creating movement in between the vertebrae. Warming up the whole body, fingertips to toes. Last time, mindfully, slowly, dramatically. I am noticing my hamstrings today. We might have to work on that. Go ahead and relax back into that forward fold and hang out there for a couple more breaths. Relaxing your neck, relaxing your shoulders. That's such an area that we tend to hold tension in, so this is a great decompression of those neck and shoulders. Okay, so let's get the arms and legs a little bit more involved. We've gotten the spine kind of flowy. We're going to take a half lift, so hands to shins. And just holding here, we start to feel the hamstrings really stretching. Open up that chest, squeeze the shoulders together behind you. Core engaged. And so the hamstrings are feeling it here. We're going to set the hands down on the floor, keep the core tight, and take the right leg back behind you to a low lunge. So nice, long, big, stretched out position, low lunge. We want this back leg reaching as far behind as we can and this front knee over this ankle. Really common to have kind of a shortened position like this. Nah, I want a good stack. Give me a nice long position. Creep that foot out in front of you. I know it's tight. I know it's difficult. And then go ahead and set that back knee down. Thank goodness. We're going to flow through this leg and wake it up. So you're going to inhale to lift the chest. And I want you to notice the stretch on this right hip flexor. And then exhale, push the hips back, straightening out the front leg. Feel this back hamstring. Inhale forward, hip flexor. Exhale back, hamstring. Give me 4 more nice and slow, back and forth through those 2 positions. Breathing, noticing, stretching. And 1 more round, back and forth. Cool, we're gonna bend into that left knee. Pick up the back knee so we can step forward to the top of the mat. back and forward fold you go at the top. Relax, head forward, drop hands, take a few deep breaths. Notice if there's any differences between the two legs. Keep breathing. Take half lift. This is so that we can be mindful of our back. So my spine is straight, my core is engaged to support that flat back. And I'm going to try to keep that flat back the whole time that I step left leg back to low lunge. So my back hopefully stayed mostly neutral, mostly the same. Find that nice long stance, knee over ankle. Set the back knee down, and we're going to float back and forth between our hip flexor and hamstring stretch. Inhale, look up, open chest. Exhale, slide back, straighten out the right leg. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. 4 more rounds. Last round. Bend the right knee. Lift the back knee so you can come to the front of the mat. Forward fold. Bend both knees. Relax head. Decompress upper back, neck, shoulders. And draw your core in to support your back as you roll yourself up to stand. All right, let's get the shoulders to wake up. So we're going to start with one arm at a time. I want you to put your left hand on your belly. The reason for this is I want you to be able to sense your ribs. So find your ribs, use your hands to be able to feel that rib cage, and then feel if your abs are engaged. So is your core tight? Are your abs engaged? Are those ribs pulling down? We don't want to let the ribs open up in the back arch. So keep the abs tucked and hand on belly. We're going to take the right hand in a nice, big, huge circle. So we're going to inhale to start that big circle, thumb reaching up and back, and exhale to draw it as far behind as we possibly can. Big, huge circle, bring it back around. Leading with the thumb, inhale, bring it up. And exhale back behind, slow enough that we can follow the pace of the breath, and so that we can create the biggest circle possible, stretching through that range of motion as big and smooth as possible. Let's go one more round on this right arm. And exhale it around. And then we'll switch sides. Right hand on belly, keeping it engaged, making sure it's on. And left hand goes up. Lead with the thumb. Inhale. Exhale, finish the back part of that circle. Nice, slow. 2 more big circles on this left side. Great, and we're going to take a slow, deep forward fold. So standing at the top of your mat, take your arms out to your sides. Big, huge inhale, and exhale, tip the hips, send the booty back, arching your spine. Relax forward, drop the hands, take a nice deep breath and forward fold. Let's put arms and legs together. Take a half lift. Step the right leg back to a low lunge. Get that nice long length in between the 2 feet. Go ahead and set the back knee down. We're going to walk the left foot out a little wider to give us some more room. So the left foot to the left edge of the mat and the hands on the floor. And we are stretching now through this hip, through the groin, and we're going to add on shoulders, which is going to force the mid-back to stretch as well. So you're going to take the left hand out in front of you and create that big circle. I want you to inhale, reach that hand towards the sky, and we're also going to twist through the upper back. So the chest is rotating, Exhale to tap this hand on the low back to finish out that circle. So big, huge circle. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tap out in front of you. Inhale, reach overhead again. And exhale, tap. Give me 2 more big, huge circles. Inhale to reach. Exhale, forward. Creating big, dramatic reach. Opening up the chest, opening up the shoulders, keeping the neck long. 1 more breath. Inhale, reach. Exhale, set that left hand down. And let's take it back to hamstring stretch. So we're going to wiggle the left foot back into the center. Back in the middle. And we're going to straighten out that left leg. So now this leg is feeling a little bit more stretched. We're going to lift this front toe off the floor. And then this balance part is going to get a little sketchy. So brace yourself for your balance. You're going to lift yourself up off the floor, feeling a little wobbly. And we're going to try to interlace the hands behind the low back. Roll the shoulders back and down. And on our exhale, we're going to tip at the hips and drop the belly towards that thigh. So exhale, lower. I know the balance is crazy here. Keep that front toe lifted. And then inhale, come back up. So we get chest stretch, we get hamstring stretch. Core is engaging to support us. We're going 4 more rounds just like that. Inhaling at the top, exhaling at the bottom. And 2 more. Cool. Okay, that side done. Go ahead and release the hands to the floor. Soften up that left knee. Bend into the front knee so we can switch it out. We're just going to trade these 2 legs. So the left leg back, the right leg forward. And once you're in your position, I really want to make sure we've got the length between these 2 legs. So creep that back knee back as far as it'll go till you feel a nice stretch through the groin. Nice long distance between the knee and the front foot. Then that right foot comes out away, and we're going to get into that shoulder movement. The left hand stays on the floor, and the right hand taps and reaches out in front. Inhale to open up that chest, big huge circle, and exhale to tap on the low back. Open up the neck. Inhale, reach. Exhale, forward. Inhale, reach. Exhale, back. We're going to go 1 more full round. Take your time. Make that stretch big. And the right hand back on the floor. Cool. Wiggle the right foot back in between. We're going to slide back to hamstring stretch. So straighten out the right leg. Lift hands off the floor. Take your time to kind of get yourself set up. Lift the front toe. Grab hands behind low back. Open up chest. And on your exhale, you can tip. So for this stretch, we're trying to isolate the hamstring. And so in order to make sure that it's mostly just the leg that's getting stretched, we're keeping the chest open. So we're not trying to drop the head and round the back. That's going to lose the tension in the back of the leg. We want to keep that chest open. Keep sticking the tailbone out behind. Keep lifting the chest out in front away. So I like to think about the belly button as trying to touch the thigh, not the chest or the head. Let's go last round here. And release. Good. We're going to soften up that right knee, touch the hands to the floor, and step back to hands and knees. Take a couple cat-cows just like we did at the beginning. Kind of stretch everything back out. Inhale, look up. Exhale, round. Inhale, look up. Exhale, round. inner thighs and the outer hips. We haven't done much with those two areas yet. So we're gonna tuck the toes under and come to the front of the mat in a forward fold position. Drop the head, bend the knees. Take 2 nice deep breaths. Smooth out those breaths. Feeling your body. And we're gonna lift the chest halfway to that flat back position. Step the right leg back to a low lunge one more time. Get that nice long length, and then we're gonna walk around so we're rotated 90 degrees. So step your left hand over to the right side and walk yourself 90 degrees so you're long ways on your mat. And we're gonna have both toes pointed straight ahead, the hands on the floor, and hopefully you're with me, my back is still flat. That does take a little bit of flexibility, so if you have to round the back a little bit, that's okay, but we're gonna try to keep it flat. We're gonna try to keep the butt stuck out, and then we're just gonna kind of side to side, bend into one knee and then the other, and use the hands to kind of support and walk along the floor, and just take your time. So exhale into each side. Inhale to transition. Exhale into your stretch. We're gonna do about 6 more of these. One more on each side. Chest lifted, tailbone out. And then we're gonna walk the feet together. And so we're back in forward fold. So feet back under hips, relax the head forward, take a breath or two, give that back a little bit of a break. And we'll get into the outer hips. I love this next stretch. So we are going to start by bending the right knee. So the right knee is bent, my left leg is straight. I'm gonna put my right hand on the floor, fingertips just in between the 2 big toes, and left hand reaches to the sky. So I'm stretching out my outer left hip here, taking a nice deep breath to open up that chest. And touching the floor with the left hand, switching it out. So the right hand high, left knee bent. And we'll go to the pace of the breath here. So exhale to tap. Inhale to stretch open on this one. Exhale to tap. Inhale to stretch. Exhale, tap. Inhale, stretch, and we're gonna go 6 more, so 3 more on each side. Keep feeling those outer hips, low back, stretching. You're almost done. Last one. And relax into your forward fold. Bend your knees, round your back, relax your shoulders. We're gonna get into some slower, deeper stretches. So some really familiar positions that we were in this evening already, but now we'll hold them and get deeper into those stretches now that the muscles and the joints are warm and hopefully a little bit looser. We're at the top of the mat and we're going to step the right leg back one more time to a low lunge. Right leg back. Get that length between the 2 legs and set the back knee down. We're gonna draw the hands up to the front knee and just focus on this hip flexor. That's all we're working on here. We're gonna try to keep the butt dropped under, shoulders back and down. If you like, if you're used to this, you're welcome to take the right hand up higher. That'll give you a little bit longer stretch. So from this right hand down to the right knee. And if you wanna work on your core strength and your balance a little bit more, taking the left hand overhead as well will intensify. You are welcome to take those or leave the hands on the front knee. And we're gonna take 3 more deep breaths. hands down to the floor. We're gonna straighten the front leg, the left leg, into our hamstring stretch. Lift those left toes. We're gonna try to keep the chest lifted like we talked about a little while ago. Chest open. If you're gonna get lower, it's the belly button that should get lower before the head. So the back is flat. We wanna keep sticking up that tailbone away from us and driving this front heel in. Take 3 more smooth breaths here. We're gonna bend into that left knee. Work on inner thighs. Actually, let's take it on the other leg first. Got ahead of myself a little bit. Let's just swap out the legs. So the right leg forward, the left leg back. And we'll go hip flexor on this side to start. So get the length in between the 2 legs. And then hands up to the front knee. Find that hip flexor stretch on the left hip. And then the arms can come up off of that knee if you want. You don't have to take it that far. You get plenty of stretch without that. Just gives you a little more strength, a little bit more balance. Take 1 more deep breath. And we're going to release the hands to the floor and take hamstring stretch on the right leg. Straighten out the right leg, lift chest, lift toes. Take 6 deep breaths. Last deep breath. Hope everything's feeling awesome, you guys. We're getting a little looser. Bend into that front knee and step carefully to the top of the mat in forward fold. Relax head, neck, and shoulders. Take a couple deep breaths. Okay, inner and outer thigh time. We're going to take half lift and step the right leg back to lunge, and then immediately walk ourselves 90 degrees. So we're in that wide leg position. Both toes are pointed forward, and then I just want you to adjust for a second to make sure that back is flat. So my back is trying to be as flat as possible anyway. Wide legs, and then you're gonna try to tip into your toes just a little bit. So put a lot of the weight into your toes. Heels still on the floor, but just kind of the emphasis into those toes, and then drop your head down towards the floor carefully and slowly, while feeling like you're lifting your tailbone towards the sky. So sticking the booty up more, weight into the toes, and then hands can be wherever supports you best. They might be out in front of you, they might be underneath of you, or behind you. Any of those are totally fine options. Play around with it, feel what feels best to you. Don't stop breathing. Two more deep breaths here. And we're going to walk the feet back under us, so we're in regular forward fold. Feet just right underneath of the hips. Relax the head, neck, and shoulders. Breathe a few breaths. We're going to take it to the floor to continue. We need to work on the outer hips. So for the outer hips, there's lots of stretches we could take. I love to incorporate a twist with the outer hips because I think it really harnesses all of those muscles because you've got a bunch of them out there. So we are going to, if we're in a on your butt, legs out in front of you position, we're going to start with the left leg, bend that knee and step it over to the right side. Hug the right arm around And you should already be feeling this hip kind of stretching and releasing, and the left hand sets on the floor behind you. Twist into that. Hopefully we're feeling this left outer hip. A lot of you know the option that you're welcome to take this right knee bent as well, which will intensify the stretch for you. As long as you can keep that left hip and butt cheek down on the floor, otherwise you lose kind of the point of the stretch. So we're lifting the chest, twisting deeply. Take a few more deep breaths here for that outer hip. And we'll release, twisting back face forward. Stretch out both legs out in front of you. And just reach the legs back out in front. Take a brief forward fold so we get that length back through the vertebrae before we twist the other direction. Nice deep breath. And we'll take it on the other side. You're going to bend left knee. Take that over to the, nope, we just did that. Right knee, bend right knee. Step it over to the left side. There we go. And left hand hugs that right thigh. Right hand behind. Option to add that left leg to be bent as well. I'm going to keep mine straight on this side. Hopefully we're feeling some sort of outer hip on this right side. Just release that carefully, and one more time back into the forward fold, out over the two front legs, relax forward. And chest stretch. We're going to set the hands behind us, middle fingers pointed directly away. We're going to bend the knees and set the feet kind of wide on the mat to support this position. All we're going to do is lift the chest away and then bend your elbows back behind you. So squeeze the elbows together and backward while lifting the chest forward away. And hopefully you feel that stretch through the fronts of the shoulders, into the chest. Open up that chest. We've got one more deep breath here. And release. We're going to sit up comfortably, carefully, kind of like when we started, and get into a side stretch. So legs cross-legged, left hand next to you, right hand up and over. And just feel the stretch down this right side of the body. Take your time. Go as deep or shallow as you want and need. Stay heavy through that right hip. And don't lose the breath. Keep breathing. I think it's harder to be paying attention to the body and the breathing and stay out of the brain when we're in these holding positions. So that's the challenge for you, to be really listening to the body, those little tiny, minute areas. What's changing? Where can I breathe and get it to release just a little bit? We're going to slowly take it on the other side, coming back up to a seat. The right hand is going to set next to us and the left hand up and over. Taking our time, using the exhales to allow that stretch to deepen. And we're going to come back upright carefully, slowly. We're going to round the back and stretch out the upper back. You're going to put the knees back, feet back out in front of you with bent knees, and interlace your fingers just underneath of the knees on the shins. Then we're going to round our back as much as you can and feel the knees sort of like pulling forward while your back is pulling backwards. So you're tucking into this ball, Tuck the chin, that will really make a big difference. Drop the chin to chest and feel the shoulder blades in your upper back pulling apart from each other. Take some slow breaths there, stretching out the upper back. And release out of this. We're going to take an arched back position, so we just rounded. Now we're going to arch. You're going to turn over so you're more face down. We're going to go into seal pose. We did this at the beginning. We're going to have the thighs on the floor, hip width apart, hips dropping towards the floor, and chest opening up away from you. Come into this position slowly and carefully. If your low back does not like that, there is no problem at all to just come to a shallower arch. We don't do a lot of arching with the back, so for a lot of people this is really intense, so be careful. Keep breathing. And slide the hips back to heels. Take child's pose. We're just going to set the hips back, stretch out long. This is our final position, our final stretch. I would love for you to just stay with me for 8 deep breaths while you're here. Take 8 slow, long breaths. Stretch out that back. Relax your neck and shoulders. Feel heavy through the hips. See if you can get the breaths a little longer. Heart rate a little slower. And that is all for this evening. Thank you guys for joining me and moving your bodies and working on your mobility. I hope you feel incredible. I definitely feel better than when we started. If you guys are feeling good, it would mean the world to us, the team at Revivewell, if you would be willing to share a link to this page with your friends. Tell your friends about our classes. They're free. You can watch them from anywhere. We would love for other people to benefit from our mobility classes. Thank you so much. Hope to see you next time.